Happy Monday. Time for Monday musings. Today we're going to talk about the consequences of being indecisive. This past week I was having a conversation with someone as I was driving them somewhere. And a squirrel passes in front of my car. And I mentioned to them how seeing squirrels pass in front of my car make me so nervous. And they're like, well, what's the story with that? And I go on to share how some years ago, I'm driving down the street and the squirrel's passing in front of me. And where I live, you get used to seeing squirrels. In this particular case, this squirrel couldn't decide which way to go, which amazed me. But the point is, I'm thinking it's going one way. I'm like, great, I'm going to proceed and continue where I'm going. It turns around, comes back, and makes a couple of double back motions. Ultimately, it ended up under the tire of my car. And as you're rolling along, it's one of those things where you're like, oh my gosh, did I just hit something? And look in my rearview mirror, sure enough, I've run over the squirrel, and unfortunately, I ran over its head. So its head's flat on the ground, and its body's flopping around. And all I could think of was, oh my gosh, that squirrel, I wasn't ready. So as I'm telling this person this story, they said, wow, it looks like that's a message of a double-minded person. A double-minded person can't make up his mind, and you end up in trouble. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. And they go on to share the story about a deer. And they says, yeah, the thing about a deer, when a deer gets caught in the headlights, it not only hurts the deer if you eventually hit it, it tears up your car too. So the story of being indecisive causes more problems than one would think. In the case of the squirrel, that squirrel not being able to decide which way to go, one, he's dead. Two, I'm left with this horrible memory as well as this apprehension every time I see a squirrel crossing the street. So now this translates into us as humans in our everyday life. Are there things that you really can't make up your mind about? You're flopping back and forth, going back and forth. And most of the time when we do that, we're taking somebody else on that journey. Today, it's yes. Tomorrow, it's no. Today, it's I'm planning to go take this action. Tomorrow, it's I think I want to take this action instead. Well, the problem with being indecisive is there are consequences. There are. By you not making up your mind about something, you could be missing out on a wonderful opportunity about something. By you trying to figure out how it can be different, you could be missing out on an opportunity where God has provided a pathway that you can actually succeed. So what is it that you got going on in your life that you cannot make up your mind about? Whatever that is, put it on the altar. Because one thing I've learned is when someone cannot solidify an answer, they've not prayed about it. They've not really talked to God about how they should proceed about a particular situation. Because I can tell you for myself, when you ask God how to do something or to guide you, or as the Bible tells you, if you seek Him, if you acknowledge Him in all your ways, He'll direct your path. So how can you be stuck on what you're supposed to do and the decision you're supposed to make if you've already talked to God about it? Something to think about. And as you are in this valley of decision, avoiding talking to God or whatever it is, there are people who are likely waiting on you to figure out, what are we going to do? Maybe you're a boss at work, and maybe you have team members who are waiting for you to come up with a decision. Maybe you're a ministry leader, and you have people within that ministry hoping you come up with something that makes sense to them so they can follow along. Not that you're constantly asking them, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Kind of like the whole Jungle Book scenario with the vultures. What are we going to do today? I don't know. What we do every day? I don't know. What are we going to do today? That's how you end up causing people to no longer have faith in you or your ability. When you're all over the board about what you're doing, that's a consequence of indecisiveness. You start losing support, and you find yourself having to start over and over and over again on certain things in your life. So here's the tip. Number one, if you have something that you want to accomplish, first and foremost, pray. 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 Don't open your mouth about it to anybody. until you've heard from God. Because once you hear from God, you can speak with confidence about that situation to whoever it is. But if you come up with this idea and all of a sudden you're like, hey, let me come tell you what I want to do. Okay, people are like, that sounds pretty cool. Let's do that. And then you come back a couple days later. I don't know. Let me think about that. That's going to get real old and it's going to become the boy who cried wolf, and you're going to lose the support. So let's not live with consequences of indecisiveness. Let's not be that squirrel running back and forth who I eventually ran over because it couldn't make up his mind. Let's not be that deer in headlights who you get stuck and all of a sudden your ideas, your plans are dead in the water, and whoever was following you, they're suffering damage because you couldn't get your act together. Simple as that. Do not open your mouth about a plan or a dream or whatever it is until you've consulted with the Lord, because He is true to His word. He'll direct your path. He'll tell you what to do. The answer may be to shut up and say nothing. That might be the answer. And you need to be able to live with that. You need to be able to accept, hey, this thing that I thought was great, it's not that great. Thank you, Lord, and help me with my next decision. And you'll find that people will follow you to the ends of the earth because they know that your word is bond and that they can trust what you say because your plans are solid, and most importantly, God's got your back. All right? Muse on that. Spread the word. Do not be indecisive. Don't be a double-minded man who's unstable in all his ways, but acknowledge God and let Him direct your paths. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye now.